Of course, you realize that there is slightly some more traffic congestion, especially during daytime, and the uniforms are so common. So this now is an eye-opener that back to school is on. Much as the official date of back to school, of schools reopening, is 5th of February. Yeah, some schools have already opened, and since the ministry has not come against that, we cannot speak against it. We thank the parents who are taking their responsibility. We know there are hard times. Of course, someone has just graduated from the 100 days of January, and they have to take their children back to school. Wow, it is really, yeah, we don't take you for granted. We appreciate you, the parents, and to you who still, who are not bothered in any way, please do not be the reason as to why your child cries in the future. At least give them what you can for now, and in the future they'll appreciate you. At least you've given them the greatest gift, and that is education. Today it is some table shaking topic, and I'm glad we have a person who is an educationist, the first lady on this podium this year, a Monday edition this year. It's a pleasure to have her discussing with us. We are evaluating the academic landscape. Of course, there is a lot of things. UNEB recently released the PLE results. Yeah, we want to congratulate all those students that passed. But because you're celebrating that your child passed, it doesn't take away the fact that very many students failed. Now, the number is very big from 3rd grade, 4th grade, and the ungraded. We grew up, of course, you would barely have a school having registering a U, and it wasn't something common. And this year, it is a threat to even the First Lady. She expressed her fears. How comes the number of students who have failed to meet the minimum, at least the minimum standard, is becoming bigger and bigger? This is a very big threat. But also, the other threat is the rate at which the boy child is dropping out of school. Up to this age, we grew up knowing that the number of school dropouts was, the biggest number was always for girls, for the reasons we know, early pregnancies, what. We even used to write these in science and other subjects. But now, this year, the report says the number of boys who dropped out, who did not wait to sit for their PLE exams, their primary living exams, was bigger than that of the girls. Now, what does this communicate? There is a little more to be done, especially for to the boy child. But first of all, we want to understand why this number is even big. Well, I think I've said enough preamble for today's topic. With us is none other than Mrs. Nagudi Jesca. She's an educationist, she's a counselor, she's an administrator from St. Juliana High School, Gayaza. This year we've been blessed with people from Gayaza. We had Andrew Cheune from Trust Kabubu Gayaza, and now we have someone from St. Juliana Gayaza. It's a pleasure having you, and the fact that you're the first woman we have this year on our Monday edition of the Family Hour. It's a pleasure. We welcome you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I'm glad to be here. I'm actually delighted and excited that I'm on this program and the first woman. The first woman this year.
Yes.
Speaks volumes.
Sure.
Good evening, viewers, and I hope we are going to enjoy this program together.
I'm already excited. I see we have a lot to talk about. Now, we know this is a back to school season.
Yes.
And if we can start on this point, you are an administrator. And we have something that has been buzzing. You know, when you open platforms on social media, you realize that at least in every group, someone has sent a requirement circular for a particular school, and you look at these requirement lists, and you're like, wow. So someone in P1 is supposed to pay 2.8 million a term. Some even pay 3 million. But worst of all are these requirements. A parent is not supposed to come with anything, not even the books. They say they're all supposed to be bought at school, and the price is attached. Because now, like pencils, I can go to Nasa Road and buy myself at least a box at 6,000. The school says you buy it at school at 12,000. And very many of these are really shaking tables. Why do you administrators and torture parents in this January that you all know that is not really an easy month? Do you want to wash your hands on the parents so that and revamp what you've gone through in January?
The question is quite intriguing.
Yeah.
I know there is a lot going on.
Yes.
I have seen some of the requirement lists also making rounds. And indeed, it's a little bit alarming.
Yes.
For some schools, it's a little bit beyond the sky. Actually, the sky is no longer the limit. I think heaven is the limit, if I can say. Because you really look at the level of a child, a P1 kid, nursery, someone is paying 3 million. But parents out there, I don't want us to cry a lot.
Hey.
Because, you know, God gave us fingers, and not all fingers have the same height. Each one of us has a level where we can go to. At least there are a few good schools out there
that are not exploitative,
that are affordable, where you can afford. Let us look into our pockets, and then we see where we can put our children, depending on how much we earn and how much we have. However, this does not guarantee that schools should exploit parents. Sincerely speaking, we need to adjust where possible.
I saw some circular, a secondary school circular, having 280 or 240,000 shillings for new curriculum books. And I was like, but the government has distributed this free of charge. Do parents still have to pay for them?
Depending on the school policy, some schools got some books, but there were few.
Okay.
They were not. They did not give the given numbers of books to schools. So some schools really need to add books, and most of the times the only way we can get them is to request parents to contribute, and then we put them in the libraries or the library of the school. So the book is in the library, and your child can get access, at least one-on-one, someone having a book and he can read, rather than sharing. Maybe if schools have been given like 100 books, and then you have about 200 students in the class, so it means you have to share. And remember, the new curriculum requires that every child should have a copy every time there is a teacher in class. There is the student study book, then there is the teacher's guide. So if a child does not have a book, remember they even study in groups, not the olden days where we would study and the teacher is the one putting the work on the board. But this time we are using the book, and we are sharing work from the book. So some schools that did not get enough may really request, they may request the parents to contribute so that your child can get access. However, still, as I'm on that topic of requirements, there are certain things that may be a little bit hiked, and yet when you go outside, besides the school, in other shops, they're a little bit cheaper.
Scholastic materials.
So I'm requesting schools out there and school administrators, let's try to adjust here and there. Let us allow parents to, if they can't afford what is in school, let them buy outside. But remember, this is school policy, and every school has its way of running their system. But I am requesting that head teachers, directors out there, let us try to adjust. Sincerely speaking, since COVID, the economy has been tough on people. I loved it when you called January 100 days of January, and I was like, okay, there are 100 indeed, because everything is a little tough. We are just remaining with 2 days to go, but they are becoming like 10 days or a week. So the requirement list, or when you look at it, I simply say, if you're poor, you can't afford school anymore.
Exactly. That is what we are now going to think, that education is now for the rich. For the rich.
But nevertheless, I would say that let us try as much as possible to look for where we can afford.
Okay.
I want to encourage parents out there that every school has potential to pass your child. As long as they are teachers, as long as they know what they are doing, in addition to your child knowing their status, settling in school and reading. Edwin, not all of us studied in first world schools.
Yes.
But we are somewhere. We are somewhere. So if you
someone would really want to associate with a name. St. Juliana High School Gayaza, or this school and this school, you know, and I think because of that, we think that maybe this school, because it makes rounds here and there, they are better. They offer a unique kind of education. That is why maybe a parent says, let me strive to see that I give my child the best. But then in their striving, when they come to you as the administrators,
yes, I agree. But still, I don't want to discourage parents out there. Try your luck. You know, we have a chance to try. There are schools where you can come and talk to administrators and you agree on how you can pay. Yes.
Is that still possible?
It is possible. It is possible where you can talk to administrators and then you agree. There are many schools I know where you can agree and you say, for me, I want my child to study in this school, but I can pay this money in this. You agree, depending on the school policy. They are there. So please, if you want it that way, try and you talk to those people. Maybe if they are saying it can't happen, there are still good schools. I insist, there are still other good schools that parents can afford. Yes, we want to associate with a brand. It is very, very important. But still, we need to look into our pockets. Because what I would advise parents, you want a child to study in a very, very perfect school, but look at what will happen next term. If you can't afford, then that means you're going to change the child to another school, then another school and another school. This affects the child, it affects you as a parent, and above all, the child does not settle in one school to study. So, dear parents out there, I agree that the requirements are a little bit appalling, and I call upon our fellow administrators that in any case, let us see how we can help these parents out. I also want to agree that the economy is so bad on us, including schools. If you go out there and find out how hard it is to buy a bag of posho, you will agree. Look at the electricity bills. Oh, look at water. All that, most of the times, depends on the amount of money that you pay, and at the end of the day, it is supposed to cater for all those things. So somewhere, somehow, we are all eaten up by the economy, and it is affecting us.
You've reminded me, days back, they used to tell us that people would go to school, they negotiate. For example, a parent has maize, so they negotiate with the school that I have my 200 kilograms of maize. can we equate it so that it covers part of the school fees? Is that still possible in today's education?
Yes, it happened long ago, but apparently many schools may not agree to it because of the, the depreciation value of the shilling, and then also the agricultural produce. The prices, they deflate a lot. So, people prefer cash. People prefer getting that money on time. Like I have said, the bills are a little high. Trust me, it is very hard to maintain children in school when they have not paid money. Because if you don't pay the money, then the teachers will not be paid, then the children will not eat well. Everything becomes a challenge. Just like the way you run a home. I want you to look at a home, a day when you don't have money, and you say today we're not going to eat bread, you look at the kids, the way they will look at you, they won't understand. So we are all affected in one or the other. So that's why you find that schools are increasing their fees. Yes, some are increasing for better, while others are increasing to exploit. I would say it's a little too much.
Now we want to get back to the recently released exams.
Yes.
And we have a very burning issue that is causing headlines that since the exams were released up to now, everyone is still talking about. One, the boys dropping out. Why is it that for the first time ever in the history of Uganda, it is not the girls dropping out of school, it is the boys? This is funny because girls are so vulnerable, and of course when their numbers were high it would be understandable, but now we see the boys dropping out. Where is the future of our men if boys are dropping out of school? Are we grooming any generation that will have educated men, or our educated girls will get married to uneducated men?
It is very absurd that the statistics are showing that, but there are very many reasons behind that.
Those are the ones we want to know.
Yes,
so that
when
a
I
parent
looked
out
at
there
when the results were released, first of all, as a woman, I was excited. For a very long time, we have been sidelined as the weaker ones, academically, physically, everything. Most people. You're a man, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
A girl, but of late.
And every time the reports come, of course, the girls, their performance is low.
The average is there. And when the girl is the best, people are shocked. When a boy is the best, people are like, it's normal. Now, let's get back to some of the causes.
Yes.
Why is it that the boy child is getting threatened? Why is it that there is increased dropout for boys? Now, I want us to flash back. We had a very, very terrible moment during COVID. When children got out of school during COVID, a lot went on.
Yes.
Parents out there, you'll agree with me that when COVID struck us, we were affected, both the girls and the boys. But you realize that most of the boys were engaged into small businesses. And after children testing money, remember, we take children to school and we are telling them, you're studying to get money. You're studying to get a better future. Some of these children tested the money economy. And they realized
they tested the better future.
The better future. So in their mind, they agreed that if I continue working, then I will get the money because I'm studying to get money. So somewhere, somehow, I want to say this must have affected our boys, because I would watch news and you would hear children saying, I have made these bricks and I've earned this much, so I don't need to go back to school. Somehow it affected us. They realized that working and earning money does not necessarily need papers, some of them. That's what they thought about. And somewhere, somehow, some of our parents pushed the children into this because they were at home. You would see children on the street selling tomatoes, selling onions, and they were exposed. So they did not find the reason to go back to school. Secondly, some of these children were affected. Their parents lost jobs. Up to now, people are out there without jobs.
Yes.
So somewhere I would agree that fees issues came in and children could not continue going to school. Because somebody will tell you that what you have studied, after all, you know how to speak English, you know how to write your name. That is all. That is where I can end. So I also want to take this, that the COVID era did not only affect parents, but the children were affected too. So the boys, because remember, for them they are masculine, maybe they have the energy, they ended up doing petty jobs and getting small money and taking care of the families, and the impact is felt right now. Then too, why we see an increase in the girl child.
Yes.
Everybody in this country looks at a girl child as vulnerable. And because we look at them as vulnerable, most of us have put a lot of effort on the girl child. Remember, when you educate a girl child, you educate a nation. So at the end of the day, everyone is looking at my daughter, my daughter, my daughter. By the time we remember that the boys are also part of us, things have gone astray. What am I trying to say? I think we need to go back on the drawing board and we try to bring back the boy child on the board. Many of us, personally, I feel good when I see a girl child graduate, because many times when we are not studied or when we are not educated as women, we suffer more compared to the boys. So the whole country is so much into the girl child. They are looking at
all
how
civil society organizations are empowering girls.
All the girls have been empowered. And two, why girls have seen that education is good, there are many role models around the world. So they have also adopted that, you know what, I'm not only meant for childbearing. If I study, I'll become a better person. I want you to look around and see how many female ministers we have in this country. Very
many. Starting from the vice president, the prime minister, first deputy prime minister, second deputy prime minister.
There are so many role models. So this one has empowered the girl child to stay in school. And trust me, the trend is going to be like that. We need to really come up with policies of empowering the boys. Then I would also...
before we leave that point, does this mean that the male role models are no longer effective in society?
The male...
If a boy child in primary cannot look up to this role model, a man, does it mean that it is no longer relevant for them? Well, let's take a short commercial break. When we return, we are going to start with that answer.
Okay.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes should not perish but have eternal life.
Because once Christ warns about something, it calls for attention as believers. When God warns us about something, it means that we are susceptible to it.
Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil.
Moses, Ramesses, you grew up together, close as brothers. Remember their prophecy. Samson, Joseph.
chosen by the living God.
You dare to defy me? Let the furnace be heated sevenfold. Bind them and cast them into the fire.
It begins.
Take the ark!
This is Church of Uganda Family TV, enriching lives.
This is the Family Hour, and today we are looking at education. We are evaluating the academic landscape. Now, before the break, there is something that came in. We have very many female role models. Each time I hear the former Vice President, Honorable Kazibwe, Wandera Kazibwe, you know, the vigor she speaks with, that enthusiasm. I mean, really a girl must be empowered. But we have very many male role models that a child would have looked up to. What is the problem? We have Jonah Jal here. At least boys at his former school would look at him and stay in school. But why are they instead choosing to go casual than sticking to the formal education? Mrs. Nagudi, we are back, and
Yes,
please answer that so that the men will know that we are no longer role models.
I would disagree with you that the men are no longer role models.
I mean,
but,
why
but
are we no longer attractive?
Let us look at it this way. They are few. They are there, but they are few. A role model is someone a child looks up to. And that role model should not, first of all, come from outside. Should come from within. Fathers. What is the role of fathers in their homes? Have we played our part? Have we sat down and talked to our children about the importance of academics, about the importance of schooling?
We are busy looking for school fees.
Exactly. Edrine, that's what I expected you to tell me. Yes. Because we are busy looking for school fees, and we have forgotten the role of parenting. Parenting goes beyond giving birth to a child. Giving birth to a child is one thing, and raising that child into an organized human being is another thing. So what role have we played? We are looking for school fees. Why pay school fees and the child reaches senior 3 and tells you that I don't want to study anymore? What went wrong? Who is to blame for this? Where did things...
a parent would say, take them to a police cell. They sleep there for a week and then they come back reformed.
Dear parents out there, taking children to the police because they have failed to study is a clear indication that you have failed as a parent. Because as parents, the first responsibility we have when God gives us a child is to nurture this person to become better than us. If our parents did not...
Please repeat that. A parent needs to it needs to stick into someone's mind.
When God gives you a child, your responsibility is to nurture this child to become better than you. That is being a parent, not just a child-bearing machine.
Wow.
Therefore, everything goes wrong right away from home. As we are busy looking for money, something is not right somewhere. Therefore, by the time a child decides to get out of school, this does not begin today. It begins some time back. If you are very keen, you will notice. Dear parents out there, I talk to parents all the time. Let us have time for our children. Even if it means having 1 minute or 2 when you come back from work, busy as you are, tired as you are, check on your children. Find out, have they eaten? Have they done their homework? Even if you're tired. Because that child there is you in a young form. It is you. You are the father. If you weren't there, then that child wouldn't be there. So, like I said, God gives us children so that we nurture them to become better citizens. So that is one of the reasons why I say there are few men who are still role models, but the challenge is that many have become too busy. Now, this does not only go to the parents. Long ago, the child was a child of the community.
Yes.
Today, each one of us is the owner of the child. What takes place in my home, how my children behave, people no longer care. And when I'm talking about the community, this includes even church leaders. Yes, we are too engaged into other things, and the nation is crumbling slowly. I always use a statement which is actually a title of a book, Cry, the Beloved Country. Because if the young ones are not nurtured, for us we are growing old, who is going to take on the mantle tomorrow? Who is going to lead this country if we do not raise these children to realize their responsibility? So when you look at the school dropout from primary level, this is, it requires some kind of investigation. What is going on? Who has not played their part? Who has not played their role? Who is to blame? Now, instead of blaming maybe parents, maybe blaming the community leaders, maybe we are looking at police, can we go back on the drawing board as a country and we apportion responsibility for every party to do their work? School teachers, what role have you played? Do you threaten children to the level that they don't want to come to school? Do you teach them? Do you talk to them? Or we are the kind of people who are teaching to pass exams? Edrine, I want to tell you
the pressure is too much.
The pressure is too much. Sometimes it is from school, sometimes it is from home, sometimes it is the community. Children ganging up into peer groups and they feel they are grown enough, they don't need to go to school. So it is a broad challenge.
Actually, I think COVID helped us realize that there is a very big problem in homes, because I mean, if I can give an example, if a school released 40 students, they are only able to retain 20 after COVID, not because the other ones, the parents didn't have fees, but some had gotten married. Others are in this category we are talking about, of those ones who had tested money and they were not willing to go back to school. And the parent says, it is okay. You know, I think there is a very big problem, like you said. I realize there is a very big problem, starting with the parents.
Exactly.
And then we lift it to schools. This now takes us to now how schools are supporting children, because there are very many factors. That's why we are talking about school dropouts, but one of the reasons that this report is big is because the number of boys that got the ungraded, of course that is not ungraded, though it is, some of the boys that are under that category are considered to drop out because they don't expect any school, secondary school, to admit them because they failed to meet the minimum standards
of going to secondary school.
Exactly. Now the question is, should this be the mark of a mark to determine someone's progress? Because there could be some reasons as to why maybe this child was challenged, and one of these we are talking about is actually pressure or torture from home, domestic violence, that traumatized, and a lot of stuff. But also the schools sometimes are a reason as to why students fail, not because the schools don't teach, but probably because of the mods, because as a way of adopting to the nature, to the pressure of getting a grade. Because in the end, when a child gets a first grade, it ceases to be your first grade. But it's the school's first grade. They own it because they believe they worked for it. Now, are there mechanisms in schools like St. Juliana that support these children when they come? Okay, maybe some will repeat and probably pass, but the other trauma might not go away. I got you the other time. To that list I've tried with a second or third grade. But at least, so is there a mechanism of psychosocial support in schools that can help these children progress? Because in the end, some people are just overwhelmed by the pressures, and then a child just wakes up one morning and says, I don't want to go to school anymore.
Yes, thank you. Schools, let me first comment about the ungraded, then maybe I will give an insight on how schools have handled.
Yes.
When you look at the results of PLE, it is a summation of 7 years' work concluded in 2 days. Interesting. You studied for 7 years and you conclude your 7 years.
That's unfair, but we shall talk about it some other time.
It is okay. It is okay because that is a summative kind of thing whereby they need to find out if you comprehended everything here and there, especially under the cognitive domain. Now, when you look at the ungraded, this is where I sit back and think that as we have rolled out a new curriculum, which is competence-based, I think we need to go to primary section as well.
Yes.
I believe I was looking for a platform to say this, that as we are rolling out the CBC system, competence-based curriculum at high level, these children, they're imparted with skills.
Yes.
Skills, in that even if you get your U grade or your ungraded, you have not come out of school with nothing.
Yeah, at least there are competences.
You have competences.
Yes.
Some of these children have talent. If they can be nurtured. We have been having a kind of curriculum where most of the times we are looking at recall. Can you recall and write? Okay? Can you write what the teacher said in class? And I really want to appreciate the government for coming up with this competence-based curriculum. It is really going to help so many children who may not be very good upstairs. I'm not saying they are stupid, but I'm saying they are not very good, meaning that if somebody can use their hand to keep their life together, if they can use their hands or legs to earn a living, dear viewers out there and the people in charge of education, our Minister Mama, we appreciate you so much. But we are thinking that if it can also go to the primary side, even when I'm not getting my first grade, I can do something. I can lay bricks. I can survive. And I also want to say that if someone has really been able to do something perfectly, skills, we call it skills development, let me earn a certificate, even at primary level, and it pushes me somewhere. So that if things don't work out in PLE, I have my certificate, I can go and do some work.
But now we have very many parents who are busy cursing their children. You wasted my money. How can you come out of school with nothing? And
as a parent, it hurts a lot for your child to get no point or your child to fail. That one is expected. But what is the way forward? You're cursing your own child. I told you God gave you the responsibility.
They wasted the hard-earned money.
There are so many reasons behind poor performance.
Exactly.
I've already said it.
Yes.
There are so many reasons. So many. We may, if we decide to talk about this, we may not exhaust it. But there are so many. These are environmental.
Yes.
They are psychological. Okay, they are physical, and above all, they are mental. Have you looked at the mental faculty of your child? Is the child in the right state to go at school? Have you played your role as a parent? You teachers, have you played your role as a teacher? Church leaders, did you play your role? Talking to children, encouraging them, telling them that it is possible. Or we are the kind of people who keep cursing children. You are very stupid. You castigate children. What you say is what a person becomes. Actually, me as a teacher, I would rather talk than beat. When you talk to a child, words sink more than caning. Because if you talk to this person, have we talked to the children? Normally, most of us wake up towards the end when things have gone wrong. Can we continue talking to children beforehand? If your baby is in P1 and the child comes home sad, only that we are too busy. Yeah, the child is sad. What has made the child sad? When a child tells you so and so, there is a child at school who beats me all the time, I don't want to go back. As a parent, have you gone to school to talk to the teachers? And when you talk to the teachers, what measures have they put forward to help that child? Because every time school has issues, children will hate it. Look at how we wake children up. A child is in primary 1, but the child is in the van at 5 a.m.
Yes.
So by the time she or he reaches school, they're already tired of school. There are so many things that are happening. So how can we help one another? Now, you talked about the group that is considered a failure or ungraded.
Yes.
How do we help them? What is the role of schools? Now, apparently, that child who has gotten a U grade, truthfully, that child cannot be admitted at secondary. But how are you going to handle this child to give him or her another chance? I would say...
No, I think with this, okay, I know. One time I'll speak to one of the stakeholders in the NCDC. I think it is high time we changed what they call the minimum requirements for the entry. Why? Because, okay, the child has not achieved in the other, like you said.
Yes.
But this competence-based curriculum needs to be moved to primary as well.
Yes.
They have not been able to attain the other, but at least they have competences. And I think that shouldn't be really, that someone has not achieved in what they were supposed to write, but at least they've learned something the 7 years that they can put on table to take them to secondary. Anyway, you are telling us what schools are doing.
Yeah, what schools are doing, like I said, a child who has scored U grade, it becomes a little bit challenging to put them in the secondary level, because what are they going to use at senior 4? But it does not mean that the end has come. You know, failure is failure to realize that you used wrong methods. Failure does not necessarily mean that you're stupid. It only means that you did not apply the right methods to get the expected outcome.
You've reminded me one examiner when I was still in school.
Yes.
An examiner came to school and the director had always been on teachers. You have to complete the syllabus. And then he said, passing is not completing the syllabus. Passing is simply answering what the examiner has asked.
Yes, failure. Why I say that, many times I have done a lot of research. It does not necessarily mean that if I fail an exam, I'm stupid. If I fail an exam, it's a clear indication that I used the wrong methods to prepare myself. Therefore, if I tried again, I would be a better person. I would change the methodology, and then I would get the desired outcome or grade. Therefore, children out there, if you did not get the expected grade, that's not a death sentence. There is hope somewhere. If you have been given a chance to resit these exams, go ahead and resit. However, change the methodology of preparation. It will, I am telling you, you will not regret it. Parents out there who are crying, my child has failed, I don't know what to do next, give the child another chance. Tell them it is not the end. I want you to use the analogy of a baby. All of us were born as babies.
Yes.
And there's a time when we wanted to walk. And we would stand, try to take a step and would fall. We never gave up. Therefore, let us not give up on those children. This is where I come in with my counseling. Talking to children and giving them hope for the future is very important. Personally, I love it so much because every time you talk to somebody, you give them hope for the future. I am a counselor, and I talk to the youth a lot. And I love it when I talk to a child and the child says, yeah, I only needed someone to give me courage. I only needed someone to understand me. I will give it another try. Let us talk to our children. We can give them another chance. Then, teachers out there, as we get these children who are academically challenged, not everyone is going to score a first grade. But you may get a child who has a third grade, not very good. Let us empower them. Let us not only look at the highly placed children, they are the academic giants. Not all of us are giants, but we need to embrace these children. We need to talk to them. We need to give them hope that they can make it. I have ever taught a child who came to school, senior 5, after acquiring 59 aggregates at senior 4. And this boy, at the end of senior 6, he scored 19 out of 20. I bear a testimony. Why? This child needed somebody to encourage him. He needed somebody to talk to him. He needed someone to realize that he had the potential. So parents out there, if your child has not gotten the 4 you wanted and has scored at 20, don't castigate the child. Let us talk to them. Schools, don't reject these children. They need us. The only thing we need is to identify them and handle them, but not handling them so that everyone knows that they are weak. We are professionals. We know how to handle these people psychologically. And trust me, some of these children have not performed well, not because they don't know, but the circumstances surrounding them might have caused that. So as schools, for us, what we do, we have what we call orientation week. We talk to these children before they go to class.
For only senior ones or all new students?
All new students, all senior 1, senior 5, different speakers come and talk to them. They tell them the purpose of education, what they are expecting as a new child in secondary school, senior 1, what are the norms, what are the values, how are you supposed to carry yourself, what challenges are you going to see or you're going to face, and how can you overcome the challenges. New school, a new class is very intimidating, Edrine.
Me, I was forced to leave a school because they were putting on shorts. Simply because I was bullied by my colleagues and because I didn't get that orientation. So I had to leave the school. Yeah. I didn't see anything beyond the shorts I put on.
Yeah, so that is why schools, I call upon all schools, as the young ones come in, as new students come in, we need to inaugurate them into the system by first of all talking to them, welcoming them, telling them what is expected, let them tell us their fears, and then after that, there is a way they can blend with the rest of the students. Even if somebody has failed, that person can change. I've told you that, boy. I always tell students that I don't care which grade you came with. What I'm looking at is what you're going to get at the end. If you entered school with a pass 7, I want to make you get a distinction. Now, this one makes the child believe that they can make it. So talking to children as parents, talking to children as teachers, like I said, for us we have a full orientation week, which I know many schools have adopted. Call people, let them talk to the children, inspire them. Even if the subject they are going to do seems to be hard, let them have people to talk to them before they go into this. It doesn't cost a lot. It doesn't cost a lot.
You reminded me when I was in senior 5. Inside me, I thought I would do biology, and I thought I can. And then when I went, the teacher, we were 4 students. Yes. So the teacher called us. He had a big pile of books and told us, oh, you've come to biology. Welcome to biology A level. You know, biology A level is actually not difficult. It is very easy. You know, you're going to read only these books and 3 more, and then you'll pass. Trust me, I didn't go back the second day.
Oh, I understand. Sometimes we as we try to bring the children to the subjects that they have chosen, especially at A level, sometimes we may be a threat. You were threatened by the books, I understand. You must have seen biological science, functional approach, and so many books.
It was a very big pile.
They were so big in volume, so it threatened you. But what I want to say, like I said, we need to introduce these children slowly, and we bring them to the mindset that we are starting from the known. These things are not hard, and into the unknown gradually. Let the children pick interest slowly. So as teachers out there, you may not expect to get so many students who are, you know, high flyers academically, but what about the average ones? Our role as a teacher is to make sure that we interest them into the subjects that we are teaching them, and trust me, you're going to get very good grades if you continuously encourage the children. Let's avoid negative language most of the times. For example, if you give a child an assessment test and the child gets a lower grade, I wouldn't say bad grade but lower grade, you tell the child that today you have not passed highly, but try again tomorrow. Trust me, even that slow learner will be able to acquire a very good grade at the end of the day. I believe, personally, I believe in positivity. I don't have any negative statement in my mouth.
Okay.
I don't like negativity.
Okay. We are almost out of time. In less than a minute, what are your closing remarks?
My closing remarks, first of all, I would like to congratulate all the girl child in this country for stepping out of the crowd, and you excelled. I would also like to encourage those ones who did not perform very well, that there is hope somewhere. To our parents out there, I would love to encourage you to keep talking to our children, even when they have not performed very well. It is our responsibility to nurture them into better people. Thank you very much for raising a better Uganda tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Nagudi Jesca, all the way from St. Juliana High School, Gayaza, Manyangwa. Is that still Manyangwa, or it is another place? But you pass via Manyangwa.
You pass via Manyangwa, and then you proceed up to Jomai.
Jolwe.
Yes, Jolwe.
So the place is called Jolwe.
Jolwe.
Okay.
Jomai.
Thank you so much. Coming all that offer to come here to share with our parents, we really appreciate. And to you who has been watching us, thank you so much. Like she said, you do not have to be scared by the circulars. There are still schools that you can go to and your child gets better and quality education. It's been a pleasure having you. Tomorrow is a Tuesday. Please endeavor to come back same time as we have our family health. Didmas in transmission, Jonah Jal, the producer, our guest, Mrs. Nagudi from St. Juliana High School, Gayaza, and the entire team. It's a good night. Meet again tomorrow.